What's going on, YouTube fam, and welcome back to another video. And today we are going to be talking, well, asking the question, talking both, is Latin America right for you? Now, I know that that can be interpreted in different ways depending on how you mean it, but basically we're going to be talking about life in Latin America, especially if you're coming from a Western country, an Eastern country, a country that is not similar in culture to the culture that most of Latin America shares. Even though every country is different, there's many similarities across the board. Now, I've been all over Latin America, and I can tell you, you can find a similarity in each country, and they all have that in common, all right? Now, let's get into it. So, Latin America, as you know, encompasses mainly Spanish-speaking countries. From Mexico down Central America, Nicaragua, Panama, all those Central American countries, to South America, Colombia, Chile, Venezuela, Uruguay, Argentina, all of that. With the exception of Brazil, who speak Portuguese, sorry. I should know that, I used to live there. But yeah, Brazilians speak Portuguese, but that is still a part of Latin America. Portuguese is Latin-based language. You can also put that in the Caribbean with Puerto Rico. Even though Puerto Rico is a part of the United States as a territory, it's still a region in Latin America. They're Spanish-speaking island. You put Dominican Republic in there, of course, Cuba, Haiti even, because French is a Latin-based language as well. So all this area, there's a lot of similarities, and we're going to talk about them. And we're going to talk about, you know, we'll just get into it, all right? Let's just get into it. So in Latin America, like I said, Spanish is the most commonly spoken language. That being said, also Catholicism is the most commonly practiced form of religion, you know, the part of Christianity. So whether you're in Cuba, whether you're in Colombia, whether you're in Brazil, Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, all these places are heavily Catholic in terms of they were colonized by Spain and Portugal, respectively, were big Catholics. And of course, that tradition carried through hundreds and hundreds of years. And of course, until today, very Catholic. So if you're coming from a country that's more secular, or that's maybe Buddhist majority, Muslim majority, Jewish majority, you're going to know that you're going to see the cathedrals everywhere, the churches and all the, you know, the crosses and Jesus, Virgin Mary. You're going to see all of that around Latin America. So that's one thing, you know. So just know, I mean, if you're not really a fan of religious things, now that's not going to say that every single person you meet is super religious and everybody's going to church on Sunday. No, I mean, yes, it's still a heavily, like here in Mexico, it's a heavily Catholic country. But you have people who go to church all the time. There's cathedrals, there's everything, all that. But, you know, for the most part, it's not a big thing. Nobody's really talking about religion that much. You know, it's you know, it is what it is. So that may be, if you're not really into that, maybe not, Latin America might not be the best. Maybe that's a deal breaker for some of you. I don't know. But just know that. Now, also one thing to know, coming to Latin America, there's going to be some things that you're going to, especially if you're coming from a Western country, like anywhere in, like, you know, Western, Central Europe, you're coming from Canada, Australia, United States, even like in Japan and those Asian countries that are more like very, very, how can I say, not strict, but everything works, everything is on time, everything runs efficiently all the time, may not be for you. That's not to say that things don't run in a good way in Latin America. In some places they don't, but in most places there is a good system. Yes, certain things you just have to deal with. Bureaucracy is one of them. Certain things is, for certain simple things, it's just going to be, you just got to deal with it. If you need to get something done, some paperwork, legal stuff, whatever, it's going to be a pain in the behind. And trust me, been there, done that. And I can tell you, as straightforward as some of it may seem, you may enter the situation and then, oh no, but you got to do that. Oh, and nobody told you how to do that. And then you got to surprise, go back here, go there, do all that. So if bureaucracy is not your thing, you're not a fan of that, just know that Latin America is full of that, okay? Let's talk about this one too. Very relaxed about time. Time in most of Latin America is very relaxed. People tell you, okay, we're gonna meet at 9. There's normal people show up 9:20, 9:30, sometimes an hour after that. And that's something I've seen all around Latin America, Brazil, here in Mexico, Colombia, Panama. I've seen it everywhere. You know, people is more relaxed. Now, I'm from the United States and I'm used to being more punctual. So for me, it's like, oh, man, this person told me that time. But then I remember, I'm like, you know, it's the culture. I got to remember that. You know, I got to remember that. And I'm used to it. But I guess still that American in me is just like, you know, just thinking about, oh, we said 9 o'clock. We said 5 o'clock, you know. But anyway, so yeah, if you're a very punctual person, that may not be the best part of Latin America for you because it can be a little frustrating. If you're willing to bargain and get used to that and deal with that, all right, no problem. But if that's a deal breaker for you and you got to be in a place where everything is 1, 2, 3 on the button all the time, then this may not be the region for you, okay? Let's get into the next part. I don't want to say political instability, but there's the situation of being in places, certain countries. Latin America has, in a whole, has a reputation. And I'm not talking about every single country, because you have countries like Chile and Uruguay that are fairly stable. But everywhere has problems. I don't care where you go in the world. Every single place, you're going to have an issue, okay? But there are places where problems persist more than others. I'm not trying to throw any particular country under a bus right now, but if you all out there know about Latin America, you all out there traveled, you've read news, you know that there's several countries that have issues out there. And okay, so if that's something that, if you're used to being in a very super safe place that's, white picket fences, the whole nine, gated communities, yes, they exist here, of course. And, you can live in places that, have a reputation for being, dangerous and still live comparatively well and nice and have a good life. But just know that along with corruption in certain elements is going to be what it is, okay? Now, there are countries in Latin America that are less corrupt and more relaxed in terms of, I want to say relaxed, I say more that follow the law. So, Uruguay, Chile, they're the two least corrupt countries in Latin America. Doesn't mean they're corruption free. That just means they're the least corrupted in Latin America and some of the least corrupted in the world. So generally the police force, people are going to be more honest there. Okay. So yeah, that's another thing. Coming here, now this isn't for everybody. Now, you may come here and you may love it. You may go to Peru and have a great time. You may go to Ecuador and, and who knows, wherever else, Honduras, wherever, you may love it, but you may not love it to live, right? So just because you like being here, just because you like visiting and staying extended periods of time, doesn't mean it's the right place for you. It may be great to visit, but not great to live. And I can understand that because I've been to countries before where I'm like, this place is nice. I don't know if I can live here, but it's cool hanging out here. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. So I think that overall, if you're Latin America veterans out there know what I'm talking about. Like, you can go to country, see all these similarities that I was speaking about, put them together, and you understand exactly how that works. So I would say that it may be a culture shock if you're coming from a country, like I said, a Western country, an Eastern country. Everything is super organized. Like, I've been to Germany a couple times, and it's a beautiful society. Things work. Streets are clean. People respect the laws, but they follow the book. They go by the book, the rules. Police force is very honest, all that stuff. If you're coming from places like that, Nordic countries, Japan, South Korea, where the order is, like that, Western countries, United States, UK, all those places, then yes, it's going to be a little bit of a shock how relaxed things are and how some people don't really respect the laws in certain places. Now, that's not going to say that it's lawless. Yes, there are laws, especially here in Mexico. Some people think that, oh, well, yeah, it's a free-for-all out there and all this. And no, it's not. And you don't want to break the law. Trust me. All right. So in that regard, if it's right for you, that means if you're willing to compromise where you're used to in your culture, if you come from a different culture than this. Now, if some of you were coming from other cultures where your background, maybe your parents or your grandparents come from Latin American countries, and you're used to that type of, culture because it's in your family, you got to see that growing up. But if you're not at all and you don't have any connections to Latin America and you're very, what's the word I'm looking for? You're very, one-sided in terms of what you will accept and what you will not accept, it's going to be an eye-opener. Now, this is not to discourage any of you from coming here, just to let you know that this may be for you, it may not be for you. You may come and visit Mexico and love it, but it's not really interesting for you to live here. You may go to Argentina, love it, but you may not want to live there. Then again, you may go to Paraguay, you may go to you may go to Brazil and you love it and you want to stay there. You know what I mean? So, and not every Latin American country is the same. Like, you may have a great time in Dominican Republic, but not so great time in Nicaragua, for example, just for an example. So you're like, okay, well, Nicaragua was cool, but I could live in the Dominican Republic. You know what I mean? So you may like one more than the other. You may like them all the same. Hell, you may be like me, and all these Latin American countries are all pretty fire. You know what I mean? They're all cool. They all got nice things and a lot of good things, cultural and things to do and see and all that. So it really just depends on what you prefer. Now, what I recommend is, if you're thinking of moving to this region, come and visit, go to a couple different countries to see which one works for you if you have the means to do so. Central America is very doable because the countries are smaller. So travel time is usually less because you're not going through so much. So you can kind of, country hop if you want, even if you go to South America country hop-see. Like if you got the money, if you want to do a tour, do that. And then, stay a little time here, stay a little time there and see which one works for you. And that's how you know if this is a place that you think you could live or you think that you just come to visit and spend some time. All right. So the question is all about how you want to live your life. If, bureaucracy and waiting long lines for government things or, doing a lot of stuff for something so simple, or people showing up late, if that stuff bothers you, it may not be the best for you. But if that doesn't faze you and you're willing to accept all of that, then you're going to love it here because there's a lot of things to love about Latin America, the culture, the food, the people, the nature, everything. I mean, I'm telling you the history, all of that. All right. So no matter where you are, every place is going to have a similarity, but every place is going to be different. OK, just keep that in mind. All right. You're going to have some things you like about this place, some things you like about that place, some things you don't like about either of these places. Just like I just didn't like that about that, but everything else was good. This place was not that great, but this was good. So it all depends on you. So I recommend come to the region, check it out, go around, see if you want to permanently relocate here. The best way is to get the taste first and see if that type of lifestyle works for you, especially if you're coming from cultures that are not connected in terms of this region, if you're from Western or Eastern cultures, okay? So my recommendation, come to Latin America, but come experience it first before you make the decision to stay here. And that should go with anywhere you go in the world, right? All right, so I hope you got some value out of that video. I thought that'll be kind of interesting to talk about because Latin America is a hot spot, especially for Westerners coming here and, to live a better life. Things are more affordable for a lot of people out there because anyway, that's all the story. But I want to say thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate all of y'all clicking the link, to watch my videos. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching, liking, all of that. You all are legends. I appreciate you. More videos coming soon. Just wanted to put that out there. And like I said, come to Latin America. Whether you want to move here or whether you want to visit, is worth it, okay? Trust me. You're going to have a great time in any place you go, all right? That's all, folks. Y'all stay cool. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you soon in the next video.